Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter number 9, text number 16. This chapter is the passing away of Bhishmadeva, where so many instructions pertaining to our karmic reaction has been discussed. Just to give you some prelude, after the Kurukshetra war and performing the Rajasuya Yajna, Yudhishthir was very much morose. When he has to assume the kingdom and rule, everything befallen on him. He is thinking some other way. Aho me pashyatam ajnanam radi rudham duratmanah parakasyaiva dehasya bahyo me akshaunhini rataha. He says, King Yudhishthira said, "Oh my Lord, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many, many phalanxes of men." Prabhupada explains what does it mean by a phalanx. A solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 109,650 infantries, and 65,600 cavalry is called an akshauhini. All right? And many akshauhinis were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Yudhishthira, as the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such huge number of living beings because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. This body is, after all, meant for others. While there is life in the body, it is meant for service of others. And when it is dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals or maggots. He is sorry because for such a temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed. He thinks he is responsible for such atrocities because it was done for his sake. So, a pious king takes the responsibility upon one's head rather than enjoying the kingdom. He is so much concerned even about the dead. He said, "I have killed many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be able to relieve from the hell that awaits me for all these sins." Now, we see some similarity. When Arjuna did not want to fight because of the same fear, right? And Krishna is in between and he is telling that no, You are not the body, so you are not the killer either. Who kills and who is killed? That is the body. The soul is not responsible. If he is devoted to me. Therefore, as a devotional service, if it's ordained by Krishna, killing becomes devotion. In that terms, everything becomes devotion if it's ordained by Krishna. If it pleases Krishna. So, a devotee does not necessarily think other than the order of the spiritual master or order of Lord Krishna. He cannot think, oh, if I do like this, then I will be implicated. Why did my spiritual master give me such an immoral order? That kind of conflict arises in the bodily conception. Arjun got it prior to fighting, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is getting after the fighting. One becomes so much soft-hearted. It means a devotee has to be very careful in not hurting anybody. What to speak of ant? What to speak of God brothers and God sister? To anybody who is a devotee, Vaishnava, the first offense is most dangerous. And they are all worried about that. And as if the whole war was fought for the sake of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Arjun got escaped. He did not become the king. So Yudhishthira takes even what Arjun was fearing, his responsibility, that he is responsible to kill so many. So, he also goes further. There is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause, who is engaged in maintaining his citizens. But this injunction is not applicable to me. He is reasoning that for such actions that has been done for my sake and I have to take the responsibility, there is no remedy. He is not considering even Lord Krishna because devotee want to serve Lord Krishna favorably. But this was impossible to serve Lord Krishna when the opponents are so adamant. So you don't have a choice but to fight. Isn't it? So this is the kind of setting. And not only that, the whole effect fell on, I have killed many friends of women and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that is not possible to undo by material welfare work. How can you undo when it was your responsibility in the first place? The materialist will argue, right? So Yudhishthira Maharaj was very, very despondent on this internal struggle. right? So today's verse, number 16, where Bhishma Pitama is going to respond. Because Bhishma Pitama, on the other behalf, now he is revealing his mind. Up till now he was on the side of Kauravas, Duryodhana, right? But Bhishma Pitama remembers everything, and his mouth was shut. Bhishma Pitama started addressing. He was lying on the bed of arrows, and everybody has gathered to hear him. Bhishma Dev said, "Oh, what terrible suffering and what terrible injustice you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations. Yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God and religion." So, Bhishma Pitama was cognizant that for the righteous, he doesn't have to worry because they are already under protection of the Supreme through the Brahmanas, the Devatas, and religion himself. Because they are upholding religion, religion will protect in turn. Dharmo rakshati rakshita. If you are preserving your dharma, not going out of your way to neglect it and do something which is not recommended, swadharme nidanam itva paradharma bhayava. Executing one's own prescribed duties. Death is even better. It will always take you to the higher and higher ranks of conscious evolutions. Right? So, Bhishma Pitama even shows his pity on Kunti especially. Oh my God, has any woman in the whole world suffered like her? No. If we see the sufferings and the Bhishma Pitama's sensitivity towards it, what is this petty fighting between man and woman? In Kali Yuga, you can't imagine that how actually such a grandfather, grandsire of the Kuru dynasty is thinking, is sensitive on these issues. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great General Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. Mother has to suffer. So, Bhishma Pitama is putting the composure, and he says, Na hi asya karhichit rajan puman veda vidhistitam yat vijignasaya yuktaha Muhyanti Kavayaha Api Hi Nahasya Karhischidarajan Pumana Veda Viditsitam Yadvijigasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayopihi Nahi Yasya Karhi Chidrajan Puman Veda Viditsitam Yad Vijigyasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayo Apihi Nahyasya Karhi Chidrajan Puman Veda Viditsitam Yad Vijignasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayopihi
Nahyasya Karichidrajan Puman Veda Viditsitam Yad Vijigyasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayo Apihi Nahyasya Karhichidrajan Puman Veda Viditsitam Yad Vijignasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayopihi
Mothers.
Puman Veda Viditsitam Yad Vijignasaya Yukta Muhyanti Kavayopihi
No, never. He certainly. Asya, his. Karhichit, whatsoever. Rajan, O king. Puman, anyone. Veda, knows. Viditsitam, plan. Yat, which. Vijiksaya, with exhaustive inquiries. Yuktaha, being engaged. Muhyanti, bewildered. Kavayaha, great philosophers. Api, even. He, certainly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. O King, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. The bewilderment of Maharaj Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant suffering, etc., is completely negated by great authority Bhishma, one of the 12 authorized persons. Bhishma wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhishthira that since time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. So what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the exhaustive philosophers' inquiries of sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of the Lord without argument. The sufferings of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. The Lord has to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of the virtue. Bhishmadeva was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of the virtue and was glad to see King Yudhishthira on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhishma could not win the battle of Kurukshetra because the Lord wanted to show the vice cannot conquer virtue, regardless who tries to execute it. Bhishma Dev was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord. Because the Lord wanted to show that the fighter like Bhishma cannot win on the wrong side. And in the next verse, Bhishma Pitama is approving this plan. All right? Tasmadidam deva tantram vyayasya bharata sharva tasyanu vihito natha natha pahi praja prabho. Translation: O best amongst the descendants of Bharata, Yudhishthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative head, and my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. Srila Prabhupada says that popular saying that a housewife teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. Similarly, the Lord teaches the world by teaching the devotee. The devotee does not have to learn anything new from the Lord because the Lord teaches a sincere devotee always from within. Whenever, therefore, a show is made to teach the devotee, as in the case of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, it is for teaching the less intelligent man. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction. The Pandavas were advised by Bhishma Dev to accept the responsibility of administration without hesitation. The poor subjects were without protection due to the battle of Kurukshetra, and they were awaiting the assumption of the power by Maharaj Yudhishthira. A pure devotee of the Lord accepts tribulations as favors from the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no mundane difference between the two. Tribulations and blessings. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshul Militan Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Shri Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, these two slokas are very important in the life of a devotee. how a devotee has to look to anything that happens to him or around him. How should we respond? This is an important thing. Because we have material bodies, material tribulations are going to come. All right? It's not the only responsibility of the head of the household, but a wife who is walking on the same train, responsible to share that responsibility and complement her husband's service. Right? Yudhishthira Maharaj here has been knowing from the very first, he was not the recipient of Bhagavad Gita's instruction, because by acknowledgement he has confirmed, right? Now, even though one who has confirmed that they are supposed to be instrument in the plan of the Lord, this is exactly he reveals when in the gambling match there was an invitation. First, Duryodhana and Shakuni Mama came to Yudhishthira Maharaj and invited him for a gambling match. So, Yudhishthira, as the Dharma Rakshak for Kshatriya Dharma, any challenge in any form that comes, he accepts, yes. And Arjun and Bhimsen were very, very angry at Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira, Bhaiya, you do not know how to play the chess and you don't have any taste for treachery. They know your weakness. All right? So they have planned to punish us further and humiliate us. How could you accept that kind of challenge? And you should have thought of us. You may put yourself into trouble, but because we are connected, the trouble is befalling on the whole family. And Yudhishthira was quiet. He answered, please do not forget that we have a divine origin. We are all sons of powerful demigods who are the controller of, and they are working on behalf of Krishna. So ultimately I relate this, that this is Krishna's plan. Yudhishthira answers that it is Krishna's plan and we must face it as it comes. All right? We never see Yudhishthira was ever hesitant to fight. He was ready when the war started, right? But this is the after effects, the fallout, that he was thinking that simply for the sake of the throne, all this massacre happened. I'm responsible. Because I have to take the responsibility on behalf of everybody. He was not fearful not to take the responsibility. He already declares that I am responsible for such a thing that was fought for my sake, to just enthrone me as the king. A devotee is really concerned about his very precarious situation, being a fallen soul. All right? This is the ultimate exhibition of humility. And it is filled with so much compassion that Yudhishthira Maharaj said, oh, even if I live for millions of years on this kingdom and throne as a king, I will not be able to repay. So what a heavy burden of obligation is there. Every one of us have accumulated this heavy burden of obligation from Krishna. We came into human form of life after revolving into 8.4 million species of life. Every time we came to fulfill our desires, isn't it? And can you imagine, by borrowing Krishna's energy, we became indebtors. 8.4 million species. In every species, we want to fulfill our desires. And to fulfill the desires, we utilize the benevolence of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, we come helpless, we get puffed up that we got some money, and that's about it. So I can do so many things. But we forget the obligation to Krishna. We have to, we even sacrifice our lives millions of times, we will not be able to pay that obligation. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying that I am obligated to all these who are now made dependent upon me because I have killed their family members who were taking care of them. So king's responsibility is a wholesale responsibility. And he can't distribute. There are no wholesale distributors or a retail distributor on behalf of the king. No. So the head of the family also bear that responsibility. At least to Lord Krishna, if not anybody else. Right? So Yudhishthira was very confident. At least his acceptance of the being an instrument in the hands of the Lord was there. And he never hesitated to fight. He never hesitated to lie even when Krishna was inducing him. There might be some kind of confusion arise at that time. So he asked Krishna, what should I tell when they ask which Aswathama was killed? Then Krishna responded, oh, Narova Kunjarova. It might be human being or an elephant. But I heard Aswathama is dead. That was enough to discourage Dronacharya. He was very much attached. Even though he knew Krishna's plan. But he shows, and Arjuna, taking the opportunity, shot the arrow in front of his guru and killed him. Drishtadumna. Yeah, he was told. Right? When there was fight between Janak and so Drishtadumna killed. Yes. Dronacharya did not hesitate to teach him. You know. And that was the pinprick in Duryodhana's mind. Why are you teaching to your enemy who is going to kill you? So knowingly, why do they do? Because they know Krishna's plan. They know Krishna's plan. So, but when it comes as a responsibility, the compassion goes on to those who suffered. So a devotee is not an insensitive person. Oh, I have kicked you out because it was Krishna's plan. I have taken your service because it was Krishna's plan. Well, nothing moves without the will of the Lord. No. Whether it's Krishna's plan or not, it is not for you to understand. But who has to understand? It is Krishna's plan. The devotee who is really serious, he has to understand that this is Krishna's plan. The treacherous aggressors cannot go away like Duryodhana and Nadar. We are supposed to harass you because it was Krishna's plan. They have no right to claim that. Right? Only devotees, they have to happily agree without argument, Krishna's plan. So whatever befalls on a devotee, instead of making other remedies, he said, yes, Krishna has planned for me. Tatya anukampam su samikshnamana bunjanam evatma kritam vipakam ragavad vatur vipta namaste jiveta yesa mukti pade sudaya bhag. This is the most important aspect that a devotee can become ever serious to make a tangible progress. Whatever may befall, or whoever may be treacherous against him and might have harmed. See, harm comes from our own mistake, from say, third party, and the natural calamities also. Right? But we can't make others responsible for my suffering. A devotee does not think that, oh, he was responsible for my suffering. Oh, the third party, he was hired by this gun and he made me suffer. Oh no. Oh, the natural calamities. Mother Nature is not favoring me, that's why I am suffering. No, that devotee picks up the thread immediately. Yes, it's Krishna's plan, so I must act in favor of him. I will take as a blessings. My dear Lord, it is your anukampa that you are sparing my life so I can learn and respond to the situation just for your pleasure. One should never become despondent on any situation that happens. And in this matter, this is unifying all the devotees. This is unifying all the devotees. It's not consider who is a victim. One should not go after the victim, one should not go after the culprit even. In the sense that a devotee who is suffering should not make an endeavor except tolerating the situation. And he will become eligible to be liberated from further plans of Maya. He will protect himself very well. So, it's a beautiful explanation given by Bhishma Pitamaha, And here Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport many things, how the culture has to be transferred. There is a popular saying that a housewife teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching her own daughter. Similarly, the Lord teaches the world by teaching the devotee. The Lord doesn't have to teach a non-devotee. The Lord does not look to the non-devotees, does not look to even an impersonalist even. Remember, even Maitreya Muni was so much learned about the systematic development by the Lord about the creation. And he was recommended to Vidur to ask these questions to such Maitreya Muni. But still, when Maitreya Muni was listening to conversation between Lord Krishna and Uddhav before he departed, Krishna never paid attention to the presence of Maitreya Muni. He neglected him because he was not intimate. So this is the favor. The Lord wants to teach only to His devotees. And if such opportunity where we have to learn our lessons come, then we cannot put up any defense mechanism active. We should not seek the help of lawyers even. You know? So this is a very important lesson. In ISKCON, let the politics go on. Because there is sections or some pockets where they say politics is not after all a bad word, you know. So in this way we should say that when we are disturbed to see something unpleasant going on, don't become agitated. Okay? Don't try to become rebellious against that. That is not the quality of a devotee. Never despise on senior devotees. Rather, it's an understanding that it is an opportunity to become humble and accept whatever the situation has befall on us. People are disturbed saying, oh, in ISKCON also it goes like that. We don't expect. Understand, this is a materialistic argument, not a spiritualistic argument. They want to find excuse not to surrender. Oh, it happens here also. So, Krishna, bye-bye. People stop coming to the temple. Right? Because that is not a devotee's nature. That's why. Krishna is tricky, whom to filter out, like that. You know, people may be highly religious, but they can easily be detected. How do they sustain their, favorable service to Krishna? So, Winston Churchill spoke this, and these are profound realizations. He was Prime Minister of the UK, right? Moreover, he was responsible for UK to win the war, Second World War, right? But there were so many treacherous situations were done behind him too. But he has one resolve. England, with all thy faults, I still love you. That is a kind of nature. ISKCON, with all thy faults, I love you. It means you love Prabhupada. That's what his request was. There are disagreements, that is possible, But your love to me will be shown by how would you cooperate. Please don't leave. Right? So, it's an opportunity of advancement. Yes, if we can tolerate such inconveniences, it's an opportunity of advancement. So, this is a big lesson. Even Yudhishthira is been told. Even though a person who knows, but material nature is so treacherous that it will create always an opposing effect and can make us shaken. Laws of material nature are very stringent, very powerful. Duratyaya means very difficult to overcome. So those who are also pious and devotees, pure devotees, even knowing Krishna, they will have to face the bugle of material nature. Oh, why it happens to the devotees? I don't understand. Oh, why it has been like that? It happened that he had to die in an accident. Come on, give us a break. Understand the principle. And everybody has to face the bugle. So, we have to cultivate this, spiritual understanding that is good for us. Whatever happens is always good. Even though so-called material reverses are there, they are good. They may not be good for the body, but you are not the body, so why are you so much concerned? Oh, you don't know. You are a sannyasi, you don't have any attachment and this and this and that. But you do not know. Hare Baba, we knew, that's why we became sannyasi. Otherwise, why should I give you seminar on household life? Like that. Yeah. So, a pure devotee of the Lord accepts the tribulations as favors from the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no mundane difference between the two, favor or disfavor. Paritrāṇāya sadhunām vināṣāya ca duṣkṛtāṃ. You are a demon, you must be dead. Oh, glories to Sri Krishna. So, no. Krishna has nobody favorable. Right? Samoham sarva bhuteshu na dveshti na priyosi me. Hey, Krishna is, look, he is speaking dual language. He contradicts himself. Understand this. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I am equal to everyone. Na dveshti, nobody is an enemy for me. Na priyosi me, and nobody is dear to me. But then, ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, te api teshu chapyaham. But one who is my devotee, who is engaged in my devotional service, bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, te api, for him, I will also reciprocate equally. So devotional service is very rare because it is not a product of this material world. Gujarati में है ना, भूतल भक्ति पदार्थ मोटू अन्य लोक मा नाही रे. पुण्य करी अमरा पुरी पामे अंते 84 माही रे. The element called bhakti, it is so much a divine benediction on this material earth, which is not available elsewhere in other planetary systems. Man is struggling to find another man in other planetary system. Do you think they are going to find bhakti there? Less chances. No. For a man-like animal will be there. No. So if we do not do bhakti and will simply doing the philanthropy, it will take you to Amarapuri Pame, means they will go to the heavenly planets, but they will come back, start rotating in 8.4 million species of life. That cycle is not going to be disappearing. It will continue. So, Krishna says, Te api testu chapyaham. He is in me and I am in him and I will reciprocate him. It is my independence. So don't think devotion is an element that everybody is familiar. They don't know what is devotion means. We are learning little bit through the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even our great predecessors in the disciplic succession, they knew. But how much they knew? You go and trace out how much they knew. Then you will end up with Krishna. Hey, Krishna knows about this. No, he was not knowing. It says, even Krishna did not know. But Radharani made him to look into this matter seriously. So there were the three internal reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as devotee. So devotee, why Krishna Bhagavan did not become anybody other than the devotee? Because a devotee fully engaged in devotional service is rare. And that is the ultimate of love, to become devotee. Love cannot exist beyond devotional service. One who professed to be in love but without devotion to Lord Krishna, as we understood yesterday, is nothing but a fantasy. There are no reasons that can ever compare to a devotee's compassion and touching the heart of everyone. This is Sankirtan movement. So Krishna says, hey, forget the rule of partiality. For devotees, I can sell myself off. So, thank you very much. Anybody has any question?
Guru Maharaj, you said you gave examples, and I took the verse here that Bhishma already knew that this is Krishna's plan, and so do Dronacharya also knew that this was Krishna's plan. Sometimes, like as it, we see the circumstances and we predict the consequences, and then we become fearful with what is coming towards us. Are you getting my point, Maharaj?
Ignorance is responsible, you know. When you read Bhagavad Gita, can't you understand what is Krishna's plan? What was Krishna's plan for Arjuna or Yudhishthira in Bhagavad Gita? Is it not the same plan for us? So everybody knows Krishna's plan. But who wants to become a vehicle to carry out Krishna's plan? In Mumbai, our Nathji Prabhu, Srinathji Das and Chapadi, he was skeptical about Srila Prabhupada before. He was attending in Chinmayanand missions in Powai. So he was also a master teacher of Bhagavad Gita, but an impersonalist. All right? He told us that I would go and check what Chinmayanand is saying. All right? Then I would bring a question. I want to see how he responds. Then I will bring back this question to Srila Prabhupada and ask him the same question. There's a gulf of difference. All right? So I would take some question from Srila Prabhupada and ask him, similarly, just to check. Well, who is correct? Prabhupada emphasizes on bhakti. And everything is related to bhakti. Nothing is an independent element, either jnana or karma, from bhakti. But these guys are cleverly separating everything. Just like karma is different, jnana is different, and all these are different paths, and they all go to Krishna. But they concentrate upon the path and methodology other than the aim of Krishna. Right? They don't give much credence to Krishna. They give credence to the soul and soul of Krishna, the one who was speaking through Krishna. It's a different entities. So when it comes to bhakti, and ask him a question, Chinmayanand was clever. He said, why are you asking this question? If you want to know about bhakti, go to Bhaktivedanta Swami. But I am asking you the question that you have to teach bhakti. We are sorry. I remember when I was in first year of my master's in Baroda, Chinmayanand came and he was giving seminar for 3 days on 12th chapter. That is Bhakti Yoga. I attended 3 days, but I don't remember any damn thing. What he taught, it was not bhakti. He was teaching the character. Actually, it should be of bhakta, but no, anybody can develop this character. And he was totally avoiding the term bhakti. So, this is the nature of Mayavadi. So, Nathji Prabhu came and tried to surrender, but he was a Harvard graduate and was taking care of his father's business. Prabhupada visited because his mother invited Prabhupada to come and have a Gujarati bhojan. So he had very intimate relationship. Of course, he could not take initiation from Srila Prabhupada. It doesn't matter. But strong relationship with Srila Prabhupada made him convinced that the relationship with the Lord and his pure devotees are completely on a transcendental platform and cannot be justified by the mundane logic of jnana and karma. So, it is very rare to become bhakta. Vedeshu durlabham, Vedeshu sudurlabham, adurlabham atma bhakta. So, if we are taking the devotional service to be very sincere, we should be of the target of our unity with Lord Krishna's desire, his plan, that he is calling us, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So, take the shelter. We don't have to put our conditions on that. How can I take shelter? It means we have too much burden, too much ties. So we have to remain at least detached rather than breaking up. Detached doesn't mean impersonal. Detached doesn't mean impersonal. So we discussed that detachment, that what Krishna wants that way. So a devotee, his heart is very broad, not narrow. I, me and mine is very narrowness. So, everybody knows what Krishna's plan, to surrender to him. Other way around, also we are living on his mercy. Yes?
Guru Maharaj, did Bhishma merge into Krishna at the time of departure?
No. No. Bhishma Pitama, eternal Swarupa as Vasu, he requested Krishna to appear as 400 Vishnu form, who is Bhishma's boss. All right? Bhishma Pitama was in his service as Vasu. Vasus are the chief controllers of the material manifestation.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. At one point you mentioned that sometime the problems will come and we should accept it as the plan of Krishna or mercy of Krishna and shouldn't react too much to it. If somebody else is giving the trouble, we shouldn't blame the other person. The person has given the trouble. Now, how do we react in such a in that situation? Let's say somebody is giving troubles, and we need to survive materially or physically.
Go to a senior devotee if it is within ISKCON realm. All right? You have a right to defend yourself, but don't try to bribe and do other things which are going to be entangling more and more. Rather, take it as Krishna's mercy. If you get entangled more, then you'll be more indebted. It's not relieving, and you are not sure whether you succeed or not. Even you may have partial success, but yet your dissatisfaction will be there. It's entirely a material entanglement. At least you will become happier when you tolerate these inconveniences. If it is meant for survival of something, then you can do some, because your function is to keep the body and soul together. So, estimate at what extent you will have to re-establish yourself.
What will be the difference between the cowardness and defending in this case? Because
cowardness is only for Kshatriyas, because they are invested with a lot of rajagun. So they will have to act in their mode, or they will be compelled to act. It will be natural. Right? But then, are they going to get free from the reaction of it? Such actions may entangle us more. For example, Dhruva wanted to take the revenge on Yakshas because one Yaksha killed his brother, Uttam. He was trying to exterminate the whole dynasties of Yakshas. But then Brahma, is the grandfather, he came. He brought Manu Maharaj, because otherwise Dhruva will not listen. So, Manu is the head of the entire family. So, Dhruva has to stop it. So that is not the coward eyes. He was killing all the Yakshas. But it is over. So for one person you are killing the whole dynasty, it's not justifiable. Again, it's a material justice, but it was good for him that would have otherwise entangled him more. Even though he may not like, but he was the one who asked Lord Vishnu that please give me one more benediction, that even though I become the king of the whole firmament by accepting the kingdom of Dhruvaloka. My dear Lord, I have asked this as broken pieces of glass instead of obtaining your divine self as the pure diamond. So please protect me that I may not fall into Maya. And he was falling into Maya. So reminders are there for him even.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj, you often say every material problem has a spiritual solution. Can you please elaborate a bit?
Why not? Spiritual solution means what? Understanding the position of the soul. That is the soul doer, or the body was compelled by the three modes to do in that particular action. Soul takes the responsibility because he has been attached to the body. He thinks he is the doer. Prakritiye kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankaram vimudhatma kartaram iti manyate. So as long as we are bewildered, then we will think ourselves to be doer. Our body is either having a predominant mode of Rajagun, then our activity will be of that sort. But what does that soul has to do? But because soul is attached to the body, we make the soul responsible. Why the soul has to go to the hell to get punishment? Because of his attachment, he is being punished. Suppose anyone, according to Krishna, api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhure eva hi samantavya samyak vyavasoti hi saha. However abominable activity one might have done, but if his internal situation is of a devotee, pure, uncontaminated, unmotivated. Example is Vritrasur. He was a devotee falsely cursed by Parvati, right? Did he ever forget pure devotional service to the Lord, even though he harassed like hell all the demigods? Actually, he was the one who reminded about pure devotional service to Indra. And he knew how he is going to die at the hand of Indra. And Indra, simply seeing him, was terrified and would not come out from his palace. He was hiding. He was so terrified by looking at, what to speak, fighting with him. So, Vritrasur was not attached to this cursed body. Therefore, he had a courage to speak in front of Parvati. My dear mother, you are right in your position, but I am also right in my position. And Shivji said, Parvati, did you listen what he says? He is a devotee. Don't curse him. And Vritrasur, mother, I am not afraid of your curse. This is called samyak vyavasthiti, equipoise situation. If you get a demigod position, don't you think you will not commit mistake like Indra? Even they face material problems like anything, more than us probably. And for how many years? We are lucky. We are troubled by only one wife, or one husband, in that sense. One wife or one husband. What's the big deal? Never lose the composure. Krishna has given the best situation. So, every material problem has a spiritual solution. No material problem can adjust the wrong, because three gunas are independently acting. How can tamogun will be nullified by rajogun or sattvagun? They are always mixed. In Kali Yuga, all these three, and predominant is ignorance and rajogun. Sattvagun is virtually absent. When more Kali will be advancing, more sattvagun will be diminished. Right? Yes.
Maharaj, before the class you spoke about hurting, not to hurt anyone or anybody. In terms of
We are not interested of hurting anybody. But Arjun was not also interested in hurting anybody. But when he understood Krishna has already hurt them, what will be his hurt going to be significant? It's an instrument. So?
Now, in our day-to-day life, how do we... What is the action? In our day-to-day life, we just to implement this, so we are dealing with many people who are different personalities, conditioned in a different levels, including us. So how do we avoid this situation? What is the actual definition of hurting, and how do we avoid this?
If he's a devotee, then you pay your obeisances vancha kalpata rupees and don't hurt. All right? And if somebody else is a superior to you, don't hurt. You have to be respectful and subordinate. If he is your equal, all right, then you may advise, even though he may not like it. So he might be sentimentally hurt, but you are your well-wisher, so you have right to say. And if he's your junior, you can instruct for his betterment. That is not hurt at all. A junior is not going to come and say, "Oh, you hurt my self-esteem." A junior cannot say. Junior is subservient. So these are the four categories. So similarly, we may employ at our job, if he is our boss, then you behave a little different, right? You make sure that he is not hurt. Right? Suppose if your colleague is there, equal, then you can joke with him. He may like or he may not like. Right? Then if somebody is working under you, you instruct him whether he likes or not. Because that's your jurisdiction. But you are doing your duty. That is your job description. But don't put your foot on somebody's toes. Do you know what does that mean?
For hurting the false ego of someone?
No. Don't interfere in his jurisdiction. And after all, it's a service. It's not an ordering anything. In the mood of service, you have to act appropriately. This is also in Vaishnava etiquette. The same principle applies.
Thank you.
Do you have something else in mind?
When even if you're leading a team, or even within the temple, you may have to instruct others, and they. So do we really go and judge whether that person is hurt or not?
It's better to tell he's in charge. All right? It's better to tell who is in charge. So let them correct. Avoid entanglement, unnecessary entanglements. Don't put your foot on somebody's toes like that. Be respectful. It's one of the greatest of the behaviors claimed in Vaishnava etiquette. Okay? Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki